Now, are subarctic nations fisheries benefiting from climate change? This is from an article I just published before Christmas. It saved my Christmas actually, where we were gonna look at what is basically happening. I mean, we have a lot of climate change happening, warming of the north, and with the warming, we have a lot of changes going on, stocks going up and down all over the place. And we wanted to look at it, what actually effect is it having on money-wise? Fisheries are not about fishing fish here. It's about getting money. It's business or to sell to make a living. And often when we are looking at fish stocks going up and down, we are looking at the tons of fish, what's happening to the volume, but it's actually the value that is the big thing, what matters. I'm not doing anything. Yeah. Yeah. I everything I possibly can here. So we're going to look at what's happening in terms of value. Value is a difficult thing to use, however, because there are many things that will affect the value and influence the value. Not all value is equal, you could say that. But first, things are changing. The ocean is getting warmer in the north, and in the north it's probably getting warmer faster than in the rest of the globe. And this is just some of the graphs to show that this is happening. There have been many predictions also on how this is gonna affect the fisheries. There have been also studies on agriculture and other things, how it's gonna affect them, the warming. And in general, with some exceptions, but in general, they predict that we in the north will gain. So we will get a warmer climate, we will get a warmer ocean, and we will get actually more fishes. The losers are in the south, actually, in the warmer places where they will be losing fish, but we will actually getting more. And this is just from two articles. They're actually getting a little bit old, but you can see that they were predicting what would happen with the fisheries, with the warming. Here you have the benefiters, Iceland and Greenland. And there also you have the benefiters quite clearly, the colder people, Norway, Greenland, US, Alaska, and Russia, etc. So they were predicted to benefit from the warming. So as the warming actually has been, and here you can see some other articles that have been predicting similar things, that we'll actually be benefiting. Now, the warming isn't new. It has been going on for a long time, and it's actually did happen in the ocean quite rapidly. Around 2000, we had a rather clear shift where in general in the north, the ocean became warmer. It wasn't so much gradual, but rather quick shift from actually quite a cool climate to a warm one. And you can see quite clearly there how this happened. Didn't happen the same everywhere. I mean, there's, for example, a cold spot south of Greenland that's getting cooler actually. But we wanted to compare the fisheries from before 2000 and after 2000. What did happen? Is there any change between these two periods? We took 25 years before, which were all quite cool, and 25 years after, which are all quite warm. Has the value of the catch in the north increased? Have these predictions happened? Now, I have these graphs here. You have, these are the American Arctics, and I'm only looking at the North Atlantic. And of course, the USA is not Arctic in the North Atlantic context. They have the Alaskan, the Pacific part, which is the Arctic, but we nevertheless looked at the US cats in the Atlantic. The top graphs are the volume, which I fade out a little bit because they are not really relevant. It's the value that is relevant. And we measure the value in so-called cod equivalents, that is compared to cod. And compared to cod, for example, you need 5 tons of herring is equivalent to 1 ton of cod. Half a ton of lobster is equivalent to 1 ton of cod. So we kind of scaled it up to the relative value of cod. It's a relative value. And that's what you see here below. And you can see here for the American Arctic, it's only Greenland that actually did show growth in the cats in this period. Canada did not, USA did not. What other things we noticed actually is for some countries, for example, Canada, they had a huge collapse in the cod fisheries in 1990. It's a very famous thing in the fisheries world. It actually didn't affect the value of the fisheries much. It affected the volume a lot, but not the value. Because when the cod went away, there was an explosion in the shrimp and the crab and later the lobster fishery, which are actually more valuable than the cod fishery. So they didn't lose so much in terms of value. Then we look at the Atlantic ones, Faroe Islands, Norway, and Russia. Russia is a little special. Of course, it was Soviet Union before, and they had a big fishing fleet that collapsed, actually mostly sold to China, which are taking over these fisheries. But we have only the Faroe Islands who have significant increase in the fisheries. And then we look at the Nordic, which are mostly fishing in the Baltic. Then they have been losing, if something, for this period. So we don't really find much evidence that they are actually gaining from the warming. And this is Iceland, and then all the countries combined. In terms of potential value, this is relative value. We are actually have been losing. Everybody talks about the mackerel, and mackerel is here. We are having a lot of mackerel, but we are losing the cold water species, and roughly they equal each other out. The shrimp fishery is collapsed. The capelin is problematic. It was okay now, but last year was really bad. And they kind of equal each other out. Just to make it absolutely clear, this is not value in kroner or dollar or anything, because in that term, it's actually gonna. We are making much more value here, but that's just because the fisheries are very efficient. And if you take the whole area, then what strikes us was actually how remarkably stable everything was. You go deeper, look at individual species, and they go up and down, and we have spectacular collapses, and we have rises in other places. But look at everything, there are hardly any changes for this period. So that was kind of what did strike us, that things actually didn't change much, despite of that. Stocks go down, they go up again. In terms of volume, tons of fish, there can be quite a lot of changes, but the fishermen are actually quite resilient. They just go and catch something else and make a value of it. So we have a fishery that do not change much. There are other factors who can mask these changes. Fisheries management has been improving in the north. Overfishing began in the North Atlantic, but sustainable fishing is actually becoming the norm. So we actually did learn from the mistakes, and fisheries in general in the North Atlantic are being sustainable now. There are many exceptions, but they're getting fewer and fewer. Countries are building up fleets. Our small cousins, the Faroese, which we all love, they are very They can't be very tough on the fisheries. They just want more and more and more and more. We usually want more and more and more. They are worse. And they are getting more and more part of the quotas because they say, we want more fish, and they usually get it because they're so small and cute. And so that's the buildup of their fisheries, which are significant. They aren't because of climate change. We know that now. The Greenlanders might be. They are opening up. They are opening up new grounds. The ice is retreating, where they can actually go now and fish. They are losing some species, like the polar cod, which nobody wants to fish. But they're gaining others, like Atlantic cod, which is a big and valuable fish. So they are probably the only clear example where the climate is actually, in terms of the fisheries, showing benefit. So that's my talk. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?